Big Brother 27-star Morgan Pope, injured in car accident. In what was supposed to be a quiet, uneventful night, tragedy struck Morgan Pope. She was driving along familiar streets, the world around her calm and ordinary. The kind of evening where nothing seems out of place, where life feels simple and safe. Her favorite song played softly through the car speakers, and a small smile crossed her face as she read a light-hearted message from a friend. Moments like these often feel eternal, like time has slowed just for you. But in a blink everything changed. A sudden misstep on the wet road caused her car to skid uncontrollably. Morgan's hands gripped the steering wheel in panic, her heart pounding, but there was nothing she could do. The tires spun helplessly over the slick pavement, the world outside turning into a blur of light, shadow, and fear. Her car hit the curb, bouncing and tilting as if the night itself were collapsing around her. The sound of shattering glass, the crunch of metal against metal, echoed briefly before an unnatural silence fell. Morgan was unconscious. The street, once calm and ordinary, now held only a chilling stillness, as if the world were holding its breath. Friends and family who had spoken to her just hours before were unaware of the looming disaster. The warmth of laughter and daily routines was replaced by an invisible tension, a sense that something had gone horribly wrong. This sudden, unexpected event left a void, a pause in life that no one could have anticipated. Morgan's story, one that had been full of joy and promise, hung in the balance. The accident didn't just take her off the road. It shook the hearts of everyone who knew her. Those quiet streets, once a place of comfort, became the stage for a tragedy that would ripple far beyond that single night. As the night pressed on, the uncertainty of what would come next weighed heavily. Would help arrive in time? Would she be okay? The questions hung in the air, unanswered, as loved ones feared the worst and prayed for a miracle. The news of the accident reached Eldom first. At home everything had been normal, dinners shared, light conversation, laughter echoing through familiar walls. But the phone call changed everything. A single line, spoken hurriedly, shattered the comfort of the evening. Morgan had been in a car accident. Time seemed to stretch and warp for Eldom. Heart pounding, mind racing, every step felt heavy, almost unreal. He could barely process the words. The world outside continued as if nothing had happened, the streetlights glowing, the night calm, but inside a storm raged. Family members gathered quickly, their faces pale, eyes wide with disbelief. No one could speak, yet their shared fear filled the room like a tangible presence. Each second felt like an eternity as they rushed toward the hospital, clinging to hope while dreading the worst. Meanwhile, the street where the accident occurred had become a scene of chaos. Emergency lights flashed in the distance, casting harsh reds and blues on the rain-soaked pavement. The car, once a simple vehicle of daily life, now lay twisted and broken. Glass glittered like shards of ice in the darkness. A crowd had gathered, some holding phones, others frozen in shock, unable to comprehend the suddenness of it all. Inside the emergency room, doctors moved swiftly, their calm professionalism contrasting sharply with the raw panic outside. Eldom paced the waiting area, clutching his hands, unable to find a position that eased the turmoil in his chest. Family friends hovered nearby, murmuring words of comfort that felt insufficient, powerless against the magnitude of fear gripping every soul. Each tick of the clock seemed to echo like a drumbeat of dread. What if Morgan didn't make it? What if the injuries were too severe? Thoughts collided violently in Eldom's mind, bouncing between hope and despair. Tears streamed silently, unchecked, as he imagined the worst. Every shared memory, every laugh, every ordinary moment now felt unbearably precious. The thought that these memories might be all that remained of Morgan weighed heavily on everyone. There was a desperate, unspoken understanding. Life had shifted in an instant, and nothing would ever be the same. Outside, the night wept along with them. Rain fell steadily, washing over streets and sidewalks, reflecting the flashing emergency lights. It was as if the heavens themselves mourned the fragility of life, echoing the heartbreak inside the hospital walls. And yet, even in this crushing weight of uncertainty, there remained a sliver of hope, a prayer whispered into the darkness, a silent plea for safety, for survival. For Morgan, for the life that had been so abruptly threatened. Hours passed like endless eternities. Inside the hospital, the sterile walls and fluorescent lights offered no comfort, only a sense of stark reality. Every footstep in the corridor echoed through Eldam's mind, making his heart leap with hope and then sink with fear. The waiting room had transformed into a place where time had lost all meaning. Clocks ticked relentlessly, each second a painful reminder of uncertainty. Eldam refused to sit. He paced, stopped, and then paced again. His hands were trembling, and yet he clenched them tightly, as if gripping his own strength could somehow bring Morgan back. Family and friends hovered close, their faces pale and anxious. Some whispered quiet prayers, others sat in stunned silence, unable to process the unfolding tragedy. Meanwhile, in the intensive care unit, Morgan lay unconscious. Machines beeped rhythmically, a cold and impersonal rhythm that contrasted sharply with the warmth of her vibrant life. Every monitor reading, every beep, was scrutinized by doctors and nurses who moved with urgent precision. Each small signal of life became a beacon of hope, fragile and tentative, against the weight of fear pressing down on everyone waiting outside. Eldam imagined her lying there, fragile and vulnerable, and he could barely breathe. Memories flashed through his mind. Laughter shared on ordinary days, moments of joy that now felt achingly distant. He gripped the edge of a chair, his knuckles white, and whispered her name repeatedly, almost as if saying it enough times could bring her back to him. Time itself seemed to stretch. Minutes felt like hours, hours like days. Every door that opened sent a jolt of panic through the room. Every face that emerged made hearts race. Nurses walked past, doctors moved swiftly, but none of it brought reassurance. The uncertainty was unbearable. And then a subtle change, a small, almost imperceptible movement. Morgan's fingers twitched. A faint sigh escaped her lips. It was enough. Not complete relief, not yet, but enough to stir hope. Eldam's eyes filled with tears that he could no longer hold back. He reached forward, placing his hand near hers, as if his presence could anchor her to life, to the world that still waited beyond the hospital walls. Family members huddled together, their collective fear mingling with hope. Each tear shed, each whispered prayer became part of a quiet, emotional chorus that filled the sterile room. It was a testament to love, to connection, and to the fragile threads of life that could be shattered in an instant yet still hold strong through the deepest darkness. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and reflective. The night, once ominous and threatening, now seemed to hold a fragile peace. Yet the storm inside the hospital continued, a mixture of fear, hope, and the overwhelming weight of the unknown. Eldam leaned closer, his voice barely audible, trembling with emotion. "Stay with us. Please stay with us." And in that quiet, fragile moment, the first spark of hope flickered. It was delicate, uncertain, yet undeniable. A promise that life, even after tragedy, could find a way to endure. The dawn arrived quietly, painting the hospital walls in soft shades of pale gold. Inside, the atmosphere was heavy with exhaustion and unspoken fear. Eldam had barely slept, and yet he had not left Morgan's side for a moment. Every shallow breath, every small twitch of movement, was a lifeline in the storm of uncertainty. Then, almost imperceptibly at first, Morgan's eyelids fluttered. The monitors beeped in subtle rhythm, marking the faint signs of life that brought both relief and tension. Eldam, leaning close, noticed the change instantly. His heart leaped, tears blurring his vision as he gently reached for her hand. "Morgan, can you hear me? It's me, you're safe now." Morgan's eyes opened slowly, hazy at first, as if the world itself were a blur she was trying to focus on. Recognition came gradually, and then clarity. She saw Eldam, and something unspoken passed between them. Relief, love, fear, and the raw vulnerability of someone who had faced the edge of life and returned. Family members gathered, faces etched with worry and relief. The room, once heavy with panic, now pulsed with an emotional intensity that words could scarcely capture. Eldam embraced Morgan gently, holding her as if to ensure she was truly there, truly safe. "You scared us so much. Never leave us like that again." The words hung in the air, weighted with emotion, as family members wept quietly, holding one another, processing the depth of what could have been. Each embrace was a silent acknowledgement of the fragility of life, and the overwhelming power of love that could carry them through even the darkest moments. Doctors and nurses watched with quiet professionalism, aware of the emotional intensity in the room. They knew their role, yet even they could not ignore the profound humanity of the moment. the reunion of a family torn by fear, now tentatively mending. As Morgan regained strength, small smiles and soft laughter began to pierce the tension. Yet underneath it all, the memory of the accident lingered, a stark reminder of how quickly life could change. Every movement, every glance, carried a newfound appreciation for life's fragility. Eldam sat by her side, holding her hand, silently vowing to treasure every moment. Each heartbeat, each breath became a symbol of survival, of hope, of the unbreakable bonds that tragedy could never sever. Outside, the sun rose fully, flooding the hospital with light. It was as if the world itself acknowledged the endurance of life, the resilience of the human spirit, and the emotional journey that had brought them to this fragile, precious moment of reunion. The family, though shaken and exhausted, felt a profound sense of connection. They had faced fear, despair, and uncertainty together, and now in the quiet aftermath they realized the depth of what truly mattered. Love, presence, and the gift of having each other, no matter how fleeting the moments might seem. Days passed, each one stretching longer than the last, yet each also carrying the slow, delicate promise of healing. Morgan remained under close care, her body bruised and battered, but her spirit, fragile yet unyielding, began to show signs of life beyond the monitors and machines. Every small movement, every weak smile was a victory, a reminder that she had survived what could have ended everything. Eldam stayed by her side, rarely leaving the hospital room. Every gesture was filled with quiet devotion, adjusting her pillows, offering sips of water, brushing her hair back gently from her face. Each action spoke volumes of his love, of the silent vow he had made the night her world had tilted on its edge. Family members rotated in and out, each bringing comfort, laughter, and stories from the outside world. Their voices, once strained with panic, now carried warmth, encouragement, and gentle reminders that life, though fragile, could continue. Eldam watched them all with a mix of exhaustion and gratitude. They had survived the worst together, and now they faced the slow, uncertain process of recovery united. Morgan's eyes, when they opened fully, carried a new depth. The ordeal had left marks, physical, yes, but also emotional, visible in the way she now paused to take in every sound, every word, every smile. Each moment felt heavier, more precious, as if she understood on a deeper level the value of life that had been nearly taken from her. I never realized how quickly it all could be gone. I'm so lucky. No, we're all lucky. Lucky you're here. Lucky we're together. You have to remember that, Morgan. The words lingered, filled with raw emotion. Around them, family members wept quietly, some laughing softly, some simply sitting in silence, each processing their own mix of relief, gratitude, and lingering fear. The hospital room had become more than a place of medical care. It had become a sanctuary of emotional recovery, a space where love and presence were as vital as any medicine. As the days progressed, Morgan began to regain strength. Simple actions, sitting up, taking a few steps, eating a meal without assistance, became monumental milestones. Each achievement, no matter how small, was celebrated quietly but intensely. The family clung to these moments, aware that recovery was a fragile, gradual process, and that the shadows of the accident still loomed, subtle but persistent. Late at night, when the hospital corridors were empty and the lights dimmed, Eldam would sit by Morgan's side, reflecting on the fragility of life, the depth of love, and the resilience required to endure. He thought about how quickly ordinary moments could transform into life-altering experiences, how easily laughter and calm could be replaced by fear and uncertainty. Yet in this reflection he found clarity, a renewed appreciation for every heartbeat, every shared glance, every moment that reminded him that Morgan was still here. Outside, the world continued as always, sunrises, birds, the hum of life, but for Morgan and her family, it carried a new resonance. Every sound, every movement, every simple interaction was now imbued with significance. Survival had changed them, had sharpened the focus on what truly mattered. Each other, love, and the fragile yet undeniable thread that connects life to hope. And so, in the quiet, fragile rhythm of recovery, the family found strength, not just in the healing of Morgan's body, but in the emotional bonds that had been tested and proven unbreakable. Every day was a testament to endurance, every moment a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, hope could survive, and love could endure. The sun rose gently over the hospital, casting warm light through the large windows, touching every corner of the room where Morgan now sat fully conscious. Her eyes, once clouded with pain and uncertainty, were clear, reflecting a mix of relief, gratitude, and lingering vulnerability. The journey had been long, terrifying, and unimaginable, but she had survived. Eldam sat beside her, holding her hand with a tenderness that spoke louder than words ever could. Around them, family members gathered, their faces a blend of exhaustion and overwhelming emotion. They had been through the unthinkable, faced fear so deep it had almost consumed them, and yet here they were, together, intact, and more connected than ever. Morgan looked around the room, seeing the faces that had waited, prayed, and hoped for her life. She felt the weight of their love, the depth of their care, and the unspoken promises that had held her through the darkest hours. Tears filled her eyes and she whispered softly, almost afraid to break the moment with words. I can't even begin to thank you for being here, for not giving up on me. You don't have to thank us. We belong together. That's all that matters. You're here. That's all we need." The room was silent for a moment, filled only with the sound of quiet sobs and the steady rhythm of a life reclaimed. Every embrace, every hand held, every tear shed was a testament to resilience. The power of family, love, and human connection to survive even the harshest trials. Morgan's gaze fell on each family member, seeing in their eyes the reflection of her own journey. Fear, hope, grief, and ultimately unwavering love. She realized how fragile life could be, and yet how profoundly beautiful it was when shared with those who truly care. Outside the hospital, the world continued. Life moved forward as it always does, but inside that room time seemed to pause. Each heartbeat, each whisper, each moment of closeness was sacred. The accident had threatened to shatter everything, but in its wake, it had strengthened the bonds that truly mattered. Eldam gently brushed a strand of hair from Morgan's face. "Eldam, we made it together. And from now on we'll never take a single moment for granted." Morgan nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks, a smile breaking through the fear and pain. Morgan, never, never again. And in that fragile, perfect moment, the family understood the true weight of survival. It wasn't just about living through tragedy. It was about holding on to each other, cherishing every shared breath, and finding strength and love that could withstand even the darkest nights. The storm had passed. The scars would remain, but so would the unbreakable bonds forged in fear, hope, and unwavering devotion. And as they sat together embracing, the quiet truth of life resonated. No matter what came next, they would face it united, stronger, and infinitely more grateful for every heartbeat, every glance, every moment of being together.